Well guys, the Ukrainian Air Force has never been so successful as it is today. Just look at this big kaboom caused by JDAM, which was dropped from MiG-29. And yes, this is the Russian territory of Bryansk. There was the big Russian supply hub center, and as you can see, it's no more. Well, I guess the delivery of F-16s helped Ukraine a lot to offload its air defense capabilities. And Ukraine is now able to release some of the Soviet jets to fight on the front lines, like for example, it is happening near Bryansk, also in Donetsk Oblast, Belgorod Oblast. And by the way, we have the good news from Belgium, so there is no delay expected for delivery of those airplanes. Awesome! And you know, Russians are also complaining on their channels that Ukraine started to use aviation more massively than before. We have tons of the videos showing how Ukraine cuts the Russian logistics. For example, there is one more kaboom in Davydov village, and it is the main hub for the Russian supplies as well. And here Russia sends more and more reinforcements. They want to get more ground in this area, but we have good news actually coming from the front lines. I'm gonna update you very soon in this video, so stand by. But what I can tell that Russia is sending reinforcements not for their attacks, but mostly for defense. Yeah, Ukraine was capable to get the initiative in Pokrovsk direction. It was counted as almost not possible a few months ago, but now Russia has to face this reality, which is not good for them. By the way, hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine. Let's go. And also tell me if you like this new logo design on my mic. I use it not just for a single one, but for different microphones. Yeah, simple and I think it's great. A unique features on the channel. Well guys, about the Pokrovsk direction, here you can see the advancement of the Ukrainian army yesterday and today. I would say that the Russians' 15th Separate Motor Rifle Brigade is in a deep shed. Because in this area, Ukraine attacks actually from two of the sides. There is the attack vector from the north, from Kotlin, which is now a base for the Ukrainian army. Ukraine was capable to create its bridgehead there, and Ukraine moves over here plus to the north. And yes, still there is the road which Russia may use for their withdrawal from the area, but it's very close to the front line. So there is the obvious risk for the Russian supplies. And satellite image shows us that there is no alternate for this road. The rest of the terrain, well, it is quite difficult. There are no field roads. There are some hills, and here you can see even a river. So without field roads connection, Russia is in a deep problem. Especially right now that the weather is very muddy. So for Russia, the only supply line is that only road, which Ukraine might cut at any moment. I would say that it's not usable for Russia any longer, because if they want to supply their group here, they would have losses on the way. Ukraine uses lots of the FPV drones. And even further away from the front lines, Russia has tremendous losses, even in Selidova village over here. And this is the usual picture from the Russian supply roads, China golf carts, and lots of the wreckage which Russia continued to lose. Andrew Perpetua, who analyzes the videos coming from the front lines, tells that there are 318 videos just today published. So yeah, it will take him lots of the time to calculate all of the losses, but usually Russia has way more losses compared to Ukraine. But we know that Ukraine goes on attack missions also. That's why, yeah, the losses for Ukraine intensified. Well, I also watched those videos and part of them are coming from the Russian side, and you know, visiting those strange sources, I realized that I need protection of my online activity in general, my accounts and everything. And based on my experience, I know what I will continue to use. Before we jump into today's main topic, let me ask you something. Would you leave your front door wide open at night and hope for the best? No? Then why are you browsing the internet without protection? That's where the CyberGhost VPN comes in, the ultimate tool for securing your online activity. With CyberGhost, your IP address is masked, your data is encrypted, and all your internet traffic is routed through secure and private channel. This means no hackers, no trackers, no prying eyes of advertisers, no your internet provider, or even CyberGhosts themselves. But let's be real, VPN is not just about security. It's about unlocking the full potential of internet. Want to watch Netflix, Disney Plus, or Prime Video libraries from other countries? Well, CyberGhost VPN got you covered. Need to book flights and hotels at cheaper regional prices? Easy. Ever tried to read an American news site only to be blocked just because of your location? CyberGhost VPN fixes that too. And if you're like me and often connect to the public Wi-Fi, whether it's at airports, cafes or hotels, you need a VPN to protect yourself from the data theft. A hacker sitting a few tables away could easily intercept your passwords, banking details and private messages. But with CyberGhost VPN military-grade encryption, you can browse with confidence no matter where you are. With over 38 million users worldwide, an excellent rating on Trustpilot, and support for Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, Linux, game consoles, and even smart TV, CyberGhost VPN is the easiest way to stay safe and free online. And the best part, you can get all of that for just $203 per month, plus 4 extra months free when you sign up with my link in the description. And if for some reason you are not satisfied, CyberGhost offers a 45-day money-back guarantee, so there is zero risk in trying it out. Click the link below and take control of your online security today. Thanks again to CyberGhost VPN for sponsoring this video. And yes, for now I think CyberGhost is the best out there. Now let's continue to the military map review. I want to tell you here something. So not only Ukraine moved towards this road, pushing Russian army away, but also Ukraine took this railroad and actually one more road under control that might increase the logistic capabilities for Ukrainian army in this particular sector. Yeah, Russia is also using FPV drones to hit the Ukrainian logistics, but Ukraine shows that it might push the Russian army with a small but firm counterattacks. And if you check out all of the territorial gains of the Ukrainian army, which happened not long time ago, actually a few months ago, well, Ukraine liberated already the vast areas, which will help to defend the main settlement of Pokrovsk. So the mission for the Russian army to occupy Pokrovsk looks absolutely unreal for now. Again, if Ukraine keeps the military support from our allies. Well, Zelensky even said today that Ukraine, if needed, is capable to purchase some of the weaponry from the United States of America. Probably for that, Ukraine will use some of the grants from the European countries. Yeah, we understand that Donald Trump's policy is kind of strange, but nevertheless, I have to speak about it as well in this video. Yeah, we're gonna touch the topic too. But for Ukraine, the supplyment of the new equipment to the country and also supporting the one Ukraine has is very, very important. So yes, hopefully there will be the solution for Ukrainian military support from USA too. About the Chinese mercenaries who were captured in Ukraine, well, there is the short interview published by President's Office of Ukraine. I would say they're in a very good mood compared to the North Korean soldiers which were captured several months ago. But how Ukraine could potentially exchange those Chinese soldiers? Because with the Russians everything is understandable, Ukraine gets its own soldiers and gives Russia their soldiers, but what to do with those mercenaries? It is now a big diplomatic issue. Also, the passports were found together with them and everything, and they were caught on territory of Ukraine, unlike North Koreans who were imprisoned on the Russian sovereign territory. Plus, Russia has the separate agreement with North Korea, so they might help each other on their own territory. So from the legislation perspective, the case with Chinese soldiers could be more difficult for China in this case to explain why their citizens are out there fighting for Russia. And according to Ukrainian intelligence, 150 at least of the Chinese citizens are there in the Russian army, and some of them actually served in the Chinese army before. Some unknown flying object is flying there in Russia, and Russia as usual is using some of the air defense systems. So the object is very shiny, I would say, kind of the strange one. It was spotted from multiple of the places. Even civilians say that, wow, we have UFO flying. Is it a drone? I guess it looks like UFO. Yeah. Wow. Our aliens are now our allies. Looks like helicopter actually. But why it's so shiny? Like, yeah, it's kind of strange. Yeah, hopefully tomorrow I'm gonna receive more videos from Hominsk. It's the city in Russia. And yeah, Russia again launched the aerostrike on Ukraine. Those are the aerial terrains in all of the central and eastern regions. Well, Ukraine has presented a new drone, which is very nice looking, as you can see, made out of the carbon fiber. It actually could be kind of expensive to produce those kind of the drones, but they are transparent to the radio signal, which could help Ukraine a lot. For example, Ukraine might use those drones as Russia uses their Landsats. Or, as it was explained on this exhibition, those particular drones will be used against the Russian Shahed drones to hit them right in the skies. The idea is to offload the Ukrainian air defense, which is very expensive if we speak about Patriot systems, NASAMS, IRIS-T. Each missile could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, or in case of Patriot, even millions. And for what? For the Shahed drone, which is not even close to as expensive as missile which shuts it down. So yeah, obviously Ukraine is looking for a cheaper and more effective solution. Especially right now that Ukraine is not obtaining enough air defense systems from our allies. There are more than 100 Patriot systems in arsenals of our allies, but they hesitate to share more units with Ukraine, which is kind of pity because Ukraine needs those the most. And here we go with a new Russian attack. It happened in Novopavlovka village, eastern side of Ukraine, Donetsk Oblast. There Russia used many of the motorcycles and all-terrain vehicles to move their soldiers very fast, but this attack, after all, was not successful for them, as you might see. Well, for the second wave, they decided to send something really big, MTLBs, BMPs, but all of them were kaputted as well. Yeah, the Russian army. Shit happens for you very often. Oh, we have some of the drone images showing how Ukrainian army entered the Belgorod region. You may see some of the armored vehicles out there, but look, the Russian defense line in this area, it's very robust. Yes, Ukrainian vehicles went through this hole, which was made by engineering vehicles. But just look at this Brewster, this wall of the ground, which is even higher than the vehicle. Yeah, I would say it's definitely outstanding, but Ukraine managed to cross this line, probably just drilling the way in. It is crazy how robust the Russian defense lines are. Again, we have the news about probably one of the most talented Russian generals, General Popov, who was prosecuted by the Russian court and who was arrested and taken to the Russian prison. Well, after all, the Russian military command decided to send him to fight on the front lines. He will be a commander of the famously known Storm Z battalion. But this battalion mostly consists of those kind of the soldiers, ex-prisoners of Russia. So the quality of the Storm Z units is very, very low. Their discipline is almost absent, and they do actually the most of the war crimes on the front lines. Plus, sometimes they zero each other. So I don't think that General Popov is really capable to change something out there for Storm Z. But indeed, Popov is a very talented commander, and just because of him, Ukraine failed with its counteroffensive operation back in 2023. Unfortunately. What's those boxes? Oh, those are Russians coming home finally. Wooden box is the final room for those Russian soldiers. Yeah, sometimes it happens. I just wonder what drove them to go there to Ukraine and finish. Money? But do they really need those money now? Like some of the YouTubers, influencers say that they fight for Putin. Well, I do not agree with that. Honestly, I really think that they fight for money. As strange as it might sound, but yeah, that's the reality in Russia. It's a very poor country, and people then they see millions of rubles, which might go to their account right away after they sign the contract with the Russian army. Well, those Russians just see those zeros and they sign the contract. I do not think that they love Putin so much to give their own lives for him. Right, now let's go to the front lines update once again, because there were two of the points where Russia actually took more ground. So it was yesterday and it is today. Quite a big part of the territory not far away from Katerinivka. This is the bridgehead in Liman direction. Liman is over here. 3 months ago, Russia crossed the river of Zherebets in this area, and they were able to create a robust bridgehead. Now they try to expand it sideways. Plus, according to my information, the fight is reported not far away from Kolodzy village. Very small village, just a few of the buildings, but still Russians intend to expand the territorial gains in this area. And they're also looking to advance towards the Oskil River. About Katerinovka, well, Russians entered this village, but were not able to get it fully under control. Are there any houses there? Yeah, 1, 2, maybe 3, couple of the streets in Katerynivka. Plus Russians propelled just a little towards Kotlarivka. Kotlarivka is over here, so if Ukrainian army is successful in this direction, very close to Pokrovsk, Russia tries to take the ground in this direction. I would call it even Kurakhova direction because Kurakhova is not that far away. Well, here, according to all of the satellite images, Ukraine has a robust defense line and Russia already getting close to it. So yes, guys, I have to tell the information as it is, even though this channel is pro-Ukrainian. It's biased because I'm Ukrainian myself and I'm very happy that Ukraine takes more ground. But I'm telling you here all of the information, so if Russia takes territories, I always say about it. But to encourage you and to keep you positive, I always put the Ukrainian success right away on the thumbnail of the video. And I also try to tell the good news at the very start of the video. So yeah, as for the front lines, we have some of the mixed news, but I'm quite positive about the Ukrainian counteroffensive in Pokrovsk. It is very great. I think it is all because of the new commander of the ground forces of Ukraine and commander of the Hotitsa group, General Drapaty. He is very talented, and under his command I see the success of Ukrainian army. Those small bites, those counterattacks really exhaust the Russian logistics and the Russian forces. Plus we have many more drones in Ukraine. I think that Drapaty was able to influence supplies for Ukraine, and now it is much better. And speaking about the tourist direction, by the way, there was no military map update for a very long time. The fight continues there, the front lines are boiling. Not long time ago, Russia occupied just few of the fields in this region, but also we have the information which is coming from Ukrainian officers that Russia is preparing for the strike from Arkhangelsk. They intend to go to Romanivka to create this some sort of the pocket for Ukrainian army, forcing Ukrainians to leave this area. Well, at least we already know this plan that Russia accumulates their forces. They even try to assault using very small groups of their soldiers trying to find the weak spot in Ukrainian defense. But so far unsuccessfully, and I'm sure that Ukraine has something to do to oppose, I would say, to this Russian possible offensive. As for Belgorod Oblast, everything is stable. As for the Kursk region, well, here Russia is more active on Ukrainian territory. Actually, they went from Kursk to Sumy, and probably if Ukraine withdraws the forces from the Kursk region, there is pretty much high possibility for Russia to proceed following Ukrainians to Ukraine. And probably it's the only reason for Ukraine to keep its forces in Kursk. Alright, we have the great news from our allies. They continue to support Ukrainian military. We're speaking about Czech Republic. They sent to Ukraine T-72 modernized tank. It is M1 tank, so totally Ukraine obtained 36 of the units. Yeah, Czech Republic actually helps Ukraine a lot and helped before with artillery initiative, which expands and extends. During this initiative, our allies were able to find artillery shells even in India. It is crazy, but it's the reality. Plus, we have some awesome news from Norway. They plan to allocate 454 million United States dollars for purchasing munition, artillery munition for Ukraine. Yes, our European allies definitely understand that it is important to support Ukrainian military because Russia is very close. Alright, General Commander Syrskyi tells that a few days ago Ukraine captured this kind of the airplane Tupolev 22M3 on territory of one of the Russian military airfields. He said that the Ukrainian drone hit the Russian airplane right after landing. Well, we all know the story with the Russian Tupolev 22, which crashed not long time ago. Well, Syrskyi says that it was probably one more airplane. However, we are still in lack of the evidence. Guys, I can confirm it only if I have some of the satellite image, but I don't have it yet. Alright, now to the news which affect everyone, including Ukraine. So Donald Trump actually pulls down with his tariffs. Today he introduced the 90-day pause in those tariffs and lowered them to 10%. He did it to all of the countries except China. China will have 125% because China also increased their tariffs as the measure against United States tariffs. So there is definitely the war between China and United States of America, just the tariff war, not the hot one. I hope that the hot war will never happen between two of those countries, but definitely the economy of China and the United States will suffer. So what caused Donald Trump to change his tariff policy on the other countries? Maybe he saw how market reacted with this downfall of the stocks and he was scared about this new depression and that he will be associated with that. I think that's the answer. Just yesterday, Trump said that there will be no any negotiations about postponing those tariffs, but today he actually implemented that 90-day pause. Let's listen to Donald Trump. Kind of the interesting question was asked by a journalist.
Because you said that these tariffs would go in effect on Monday, you said no pause, and today there is a pause. So how can people believe your words today?
It's not a question of that. You have to have flexibility. I could say, here's a wall, and I'm going to go through that wall. I'm going to go through it no matter what. And keep going, and you can't go through the wall. Sometimes you have to be able to go under the wall, around the wall, or over the wall. These guys know that better than anybody, right? You got to go around them sometimes. You're not going to go through them. So I consider, I think in financial markets, because they change. Look how much it changed today.
So yeah, definitely we have the confirmation that Donald Trump was looking for some turned success. He created the problem and now everything is in the green sector. Like I'm here on the page and definitely everything is rising by 18%. Nvidia is rising up. Everything is boosting, but still far to reach the previous values. And since the tariff war with China continues, it will not bring any profit for those IT or technological companies in the USA because they use the spare parts and they use the products coming from China. Well, some media even predict that iPhones might cost up to $3,500 if they are made in the United States of America from the self-produced parts and assembled by United States employees, who still earn quite a lot compared to the Chinese workers. That's actually the main reason why everything is made in China. It is very cheap to produce and the quality, after all, it's fine. Well, relative to the price they provide. Now Donald Trump calls everyone to move to the United States. Move your company into the United States of America. Like Apple and so many others, do you really think that Apple could move its entire production back to the United States? I don't think so. Trump promises zero tariffs and almost immediate electrical energy hookups and approvals. No environmental delays. Well, we know that Trump doesn't care about environment. Don't wait, do it now. He almost begs me to go to United States of America with my huge business. And yeah, maybe some of the companies might move their location to United States, but not many. If you speak about multi-billion or multi-million dollar business, they need to build lots of the infrastructure on the territory of the United States of America and move everything of that from the profitable regions where they are located. I mean China, Asian countries in general, where the workforce is very cheap. So those companies will have to invest lots of the funds in building the new infrastructure. And everything of that is just to sell their stuff to Americans with zero tariffs as Donald Trump promises. But the thing is, there will be under regulation of the same crazy person as Donald Trump, who is really an idiot. Yeah, I'm sorry if you support Donald, but I don't have the other words to describe that person. He's really out of his mind and he is the main creator of the chaos happening on the markets now. And I bet that he understood that it was a very bad idea, but how to get out from it, it's the question.
I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir.
I don't know, guys, how to explain that. Only doctor might tell. And I continue to tell you that I feel like a doctor myself, speaking about the American politics. And yes, it has degraded to that low level than the president of the United States of America, elected president. He tells those stuff about his arse and how he basically humiliates the rest of the world. You know, I'm very critical of Russia, of Putin, and of China, obviously, but even they do not say those kind of the words. And it tells a lot about the level of the competence of Donald Trump, of his team, which surrounds him, and always tells how good he really is. And that's what makes Donald Trump to take those kind of the crazy decisions like tariffs and so on, because he doesn't know about it anything. The idea of those tariffs was just to bully everyone around for them to go to Donald Trump and as he said, kiss his arse. Well, Russians and Chinese also might do the same stuff, but they will never do it in that kind of the way. I would say that in general they have more of the competence. Yes, Russia is the aggressor state, the regime are the war criminals, but they are way more competent compared to Donald Trump. Donald Trump should never ever gone to politics. And with all of those crazy actions, he destroys the United States of America influence in the world, its economy, and basically everything. And unfortunately, with those kind of the personal ambitions, with narcissism and lack of professionalism, we might enter the new era of instability. Actually, we already entered it, but it might also bring some of the hot conflicts, basically wars. And we all know about the tensions and preparations of the United States Air Force somewhere in Middle East, probably for the massive strike on Iran. Well, honestly, I hope it will not happen like that, because it will rise the oil prices to the highest possible level, and Russia might profit a lot from that conflict, even though Iran itself is the ally of Russia. But at the same time, I understand that Iran should not obtain nukes. Well, there was the negotiation, which was signed, I guess, by Obama, but later on that Donald Trump came to power, he cancelled it. And now he wants a new negotiation, so why did he cancel the previous one? He threatens Iran with military action. He said like that, we're gonna bomb Iran if they would not agree to the new deal. But based on the Ukrainian mineral deal, we know those kind of the proposals from Donald Trump. So yeah, the policy of the leaders around the world, and by the way, the companies around the world, is just to wait for little bit less than 4 years for the possible change of the vector of the United States development. And I think that if Donald Trump continues with his crazy policy, Republicans will not have even a small chance to win the next elections. So if I was some sort of the dictator, I would never ever sign any sort of the deal with Donald Trump. I would extend it as far as possible. That's, by the way, what Putin does now, saying that, okay, we signed a deal with Trump. We even shut down our own UAVs, which were flying to hit Ukrainian energy infrastructure. But after all, it's all fake. It's just said for Donald Trump to believe in that bullshit. But in fact, Putin just wants to use Donald Trump for his own needs. So actually, yeah, Putin is very competent compared to Donald Trump. And also, if I had like a big business, I would never ever move my company to United States of America. I would just wait for those 4 years and consider them as a very difficult period for the company, like during the COVID crisis probably. But to build a new infrastructure, new factories, new production, just for Donald Trump to be happy just because of his numbers which he put, it is not okay. And now, my friends, please don't forget to check out my personal link for the CyberGhost VPN. You might find it right in the video description below. That's the new VPN which I use to protect my online activity, and my high recommendation for you. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.